Hello, this is Sensor Gambin here with a new stream. In this stream, we'll be going over the event week for this week from very early Thursday in Grand Theft Auto Online. I did unfortunately get this on like Monday and stuff, but honestly I didn't really feel like playing on Easter for a very kind of mediocre event, to be honest. At least this one there is kind of a new addition. And that will be the full release of the Ocelot Virtue as they put in the title. So starting off, I will be going into this main menu here, but in terms of like totally new content, there's not really necessarily totally new content. The Virtue was available through other means before purchase being available. So do keep that in mind. But yes, there's gun running bonuses here. You can get extra on gun running sales, bunker stock research speeds, bonuses, and then there's bunker discounts as well. Probably go more into this when I mention more like proper numbers and stuff. Maybe I'll decide to go over actually some of it right now. Okay, sure, gun running sales. Just need to see what the amount is. It is 1.5 times money in RP on the bunker sell missions. So if I recall right, I think on double it's like 400,000 or something. Like maybe like 500,000-ish at like most for like buying one thing of supplies. So like 300 to like 400,000 for one thing of supplies for a very solo friendly sale mission for the gun running business sounds correct to me. So you can get some okay money from it for sure. And I think normally it takes like 2 to 3 hours to produce. I believe that's in like the regular speeds for 2 to 3 hours. So maybe like 1 to 2 hours and like boosted like stock speed. So if you use the bunker correctly, it can definitely be very nice. It is able to be a passive business. You can buy the supplies. So you can do other things while your bunker makes money. So no reason not to really do it. And as long as you like stick to one whole thing of supplies only, you're basically guaranteed a solo friendly sale for the most part. From what I recall. Otherwise, you're just mainly going for more profit and stuff, but you'll probably want at least like one friend to do it with in that case. Very amazing for the 1.5 times gun running sales. As for what the stock and research stuff is, looks like 50% higher like stock production. And then the bunker research speeds are also 50% more. And for the research speeds, I don't know if that means like the stock getting converted to research, or if it counts like the resupply mission as well that they added for like the Criminal Enterprises DLC. If it doesn't count like the resupply mission thing for like the research that they added for the Criminal Enterprise DLC, if it does not count that, then I wouldn't really go for stock for research nevertheless. For research, you're better off doing the research like missions that was added in the previous Criminal Enterprise DLC. Using stock for research or feels typically a waste. You're better off like either fast tracking the research, paying like 200,000 or something, I think per item or something between like 50-ish items. I think that costs like 7 to 8 million or something around there for all of them. Assuming you're starting from like the very start on your research or something. But yeah, definitely take advantage of the stock as much as you can between those two. Again, instead of like 2 to 3 hour production, it might be like 1 to 2 hour production. there. Someone was kind of in my way. And then the bunker discount. Bunker discount is 30% off. Bunker. Again, you can pretty much always use the bunker for passive business. And even if you don't use the bunker itself, you can use it for nightclub, which is the ultimate passive business. So definitely a very good one there. I'll talk more about bunker discount when I get into the game now for that one. And then for some more important stuff going on this event, the Innis 300R is once again available for a limited time only. So from the start of the event until April 12th. So if you missed out on the Innis 300R, you have another chance to get it again before it once again gets bolted for like the second time ever, April 12th. I believe the last time it was available was actually when Drug Wars like first came out. So it's probably been quite a while since it's last been available. I think it's a very nice vehicle to pick up. It does have a money tech, which means you get the option for missile lock on jammer or remote control unit. Any vehicles with those couple features is going to be very nice in the game. And yeah, there's also a Virtue as well as also in a mining tech vehicle. So you get like the missile lock on jammer, remote control units stuff as well, like armor plating as well. So these even have like armor plating. The newer ones unfortunately don't have like the machine guns and like the bullet resistant glass anymore for some reason. For like the newer ones from like the last couple DLCs. Only like the contract ones had those for some reason. But still. But yeah, the NS300R is definitely a nice one for the missile lock on jammer. Virtue is like an electric vehicle, so I would probably get the remote control unit on that one. For my Amani Tech recommendations, since you can only have one or the other. Performance-wise, the Virtue can actually be a pretty nice one. 300R, I don't necessarily think it's a very special one performance-wise, if I'm recalling correctly now. If that's going to be your main focus for any reason. And what's the news section here? Really only 2 things in here? Are you serious? Why? Alright. That's kind of just saying a couple of those other things again here. It seems for the most part, aside for like one thing that wasn't really on there previously on the main menu. At 1.5 times many RP, already went over that for like advice and whatnot. That second bullet point pretty much was already covered as well. And then 30% off the mobile operations center. I feel it kind of fell off of like other kind of vehicles similar to it, and it like got released later on. Like the Terabyte. Like Terabyte, Saka, and like the Acid Lab. I feel a bunch of those newer ones tend to be much better off. But it does have an exclusive money-making opportunity known as mobile operations. It does have a unique set of missions known as mobile operations, which do actually get you to trade price for some of those like gun running vehicles that are a bit cheaper if you complete those missions. So that's always a good reason to get the mobile operations center. Those missions don't really pay out the greatest though, so do keep that in mind. It was like the first ever property thing to ever have like the weapon workshop, I believe, for like the Mark II weapons. They've expanded that to a lot of different properties past that point. Has some pretty alright weaponry. It's also one of the tankiest vehicles in the game, actually. Even with the new Acid Lab, I actually think the MOC actually has more explosive resistance as well. I believe it's actually the vehicle with like the most explosive resistance in the entire game. So there's definitely some very nice positives that I think are definitely very worth considering before getting it. They're not the most necessary things to think about, or it's not the most necessary things in the game to necessarily buy one like 100%, but the MLC is like a unique garage slot that no other vehicle can fill up, so you might as well get one. No reason not to get one. And then, trying to think here. No, there shouldn't be anything new to mention there, and then these two have just been around for a while. Very small. It's a new section for some reason on Monday. It's not like it's like the last day, like Tuesday, Wednesday I'm doing it or anything. Weird. And now I'll go into the actual game, talk about the stuff that's not in the benefit section, since they're pretty lazy with it, as I've clearly shown. Can't believe they're so lazy with the benefit section. There's so many things in each event, and you barely put any of it on there. They were pretty good with it when they first started doing it, but of course, like any other Rockstar feature, it gets neglected as it gets older and older and whatnot. Oh yes. Peyote plants did return for this event, by the way, as well. In celebration of Easter. Usually they kind of do that thing for like Halloween and stuff, but they did it, they brought it back for like Easter. There's a catch though this time, as you would probably expect with the Easter holiday. You can only turn into the rabbit, from what I know. No other animal will be possible, so you will only get the rabbit, so keep that in mind. So it's probably fun like once or twice. Through legitimate means, but then otherwise it's probably not going to be that great. Unless you just really want a ton of RP. It's actually a very good RP method as far as I've heard for the peyote plants. Peyote plants actually tend to be pretty good for RP from what I've heard. So that could be a reason to go for it if you're going for higher ranks. Especially if you're under rank 120. Right, agency just hit 80,000, okay. Nice. Oh, and by the way, if I didn't make it very obvious, I'm not customizing these two vehicles. I already customized them in previous live streams and whatnot. As I kind of made clear. Since 300R had a release of like the start of drug war, but then they took it away like with week 2 onwards, I believe. And this 300R for a second time is the limited time vehicle. then you also have Virtue. You also have Virtue you could get for the Elastos missions. Wait, no, the Elastos missions get you also have Virtue. Or the Plus subscription for those last 3 days that it pointed out. Right when I booted up the game, it said there's 3 days left on that membership. So that's another option if you are on a 9th-gen system, PS5, Xbox Series X or S. But anyways, I like to kind of start off with time trials and whatnot. So yes, regular time trial for the week will be Elysian Island 2. Probably very similar to the first Elysian Island time trial. This one I think is one of the newer bunch, I believe, from like the 2019 time trials. They did like 2019 time trials, I think, for like one of the casino DLCs. I think it was Casino Resort, they did like new time trials. I want to say it's in the last time trial. I think once this one happens, we'll go back to the very first time trial from the like initial like 2015 like heist update wave. I want to say it goes from like here, and I think it goes to over here if I recall. I think it goes to that same area where like the last stage to be time trial ends. I think it's that same area there. There could be some okay, like, straight sections. It looks like near the end to that route, kind of. For the most part, it's not going to be the hugest of straights. Maybe a lap time probably would be nice, as would most time trials be. But yes, pretty much for vehicles, I would say you would want to stick to either motorcycle or supercar class as per usual. Mainly motorcycle class as long as you're careful. If you are not very careful, then I guess supercar could kind of suffice. They can have advantages and disadvantages, of course, between those two classes. But yes, starting off, very obvious motorcycle choice in 9th gen would definitely go to the HSW Octo Drag, being the only one of its kind, being the only HSW motorcycle in the game. This car got quite the advantage over the rest if you are on a 9th gen system. Otherwise, if you are on 8th gen, there's quite a couple of few options that could work quite well. Stuff like the regular Octo Drag could actually be quite nice for 8th gen. Regular Octo Drag can definitely be nice for 8th gen. Octo Drag, you actually going forward on the stick for that best possible speed, I believe, as if you're doing a stoppie. Most vehicles you do back on the stick as if you're doing a wheelie for that best possible speed, but forward on the stick for the drags, if I recall. Nagasaki Shotaro can be another nice one in Tron bike. That one you can lean forward or backward with the stick for that best possible speed. So you can do it as if you're doing a stoppie or wheelie for the best possible speed on a Nagasaki Shotaro, the Tron bike. That tends to be a pretty solid option for time trials. pretty recent addition. I think is pretty good. It's actually the latest motorcycle that was added to the game. Would be the Western Power Surge or whatever manufactured the Power Surge. Power Surge is the only electric motorcycle in the entire game, apparently. Which means it's the only motorcycle with an acceleration focused. Acceleration is nice if you were put to stop for some reason and you really need to get back to the top speed pretty instantly. Being electric though, the top speed does take a bit of a hit. Unlike most electric cars though, the top speed I think is still within like top 10s. It's still pretty okay, I would say, for top speed. I think it's mostly going to be for a lap time and acceleration on that one. So that can be a pretty interesting one for time trials for sure. A very good budget motorcycle if you don't want to spend a lot of money. There's one that's like $15,000, that's pretty good. And that is known as the Pegassi Body 1. It's actually a motorcycle from day one of the game, and it's within like top 5, like top 10 numbers again, if I recall still. I think it's definitely within like the top 5s or top 10s, even though it's from like 2013, which is pretty crazy. So that one can definitely be a pretty nice budget, affordable option. And a very good top speed option that kind of surpasses the HSW Octo Drag, at least for the top speed department. Definitely not for lap time though. Goes to the Western Reaver. Western Reaver from the Contract DLC should be a pretty good motorcycle for certain time trials at least. An interesting off-roading motorcycle kind of you can use would probably be the Boxy Mancha Scout. My Boxy Mancha Scout could maybe be a bit of an interesting one because I think it goes to like here and stuff, which kind of gets to like the countryside a little bit. It could be a bit of an interesting one there. So there's like 6 to 7. So there's like 6 to 7 motorcycle options. And if you are not going to use a motorcycle, again, I think you should pretty much use a supercar in that case. HSW for 9th gen, where it's much more obvious. You got 4 options. There is HSW Weaponized Ignis. HSW Weaponized Ignis, I think it's the lap time focused HSW supercar, so that tends to be kind of your best option, I would say, for time trials on 9th gen for supercar. Because a lot of them will probably have like enough corners to want to prioritize the lap time. And of course, being HSW also has some pretty nice top speed, certainly. HSW Coil Cyclone 2 is another one of those HSW supercars. Similar to the Power Surge, it's like an electric one, so it prioritizes acceleration. So top speed does take a bit of a hit. But if you were to get stopped, you could get up to speed quite quick. And especially for a car, that can be nice because they're pretty spacious compared to a motorcycle, which can weave through all kinds of traffic. More top speed focused. I think it's pretty much your like #1 top speed focus for like HSW would definitely go to HSW Devastate 8. HSW Devastate 8 is like the best top speed option for HSW supercars, from what I recall. And then the latest one from Drug War DLC, similar to Devastate 8, it's got like a top speed focus. I don't think it's as good as the Devastate 8 for top speed, and it's got some pretty piss poor lap time, I believe, so it's kind of worth it for, I would say for sure. And I would go to the Entity MT HSW from the Drug War DLC. And then yes, for 8th gen, where the choices are not as obvious. For a laptop, I believe it's the Proton Emirates, the Benefactor Krieger, and then I think it's the Benefactor LM87 from the Colonel Enterprise DLC, I think tend to be top couple lifetime options for the supercar class. And then a couple top speed options. T-Fisser 811 I think is like your number one top speed for 8th gen. It's like a $1.1 million supercar, I think from like mid-2016 from like Financing Felony. And then the regular Devastate and the regular NTMT. Fucking frozen, goddammit, yes. Regular Devastate or regular NTMT should be pretty solid options for 8th gen where you don't have HSW for top speed still. And then I think like the Banshee 900R tends to be pretty good for top speed as well. Like the HSW, not HSW, but the Benny's version of the Banshee. The Benny's Banshee, the Banshee 900R that turns into the supercar class. That tends to be pretty good top speed, from what I've heard. RC Bandito town trial just somewhere around this power station. Power station, I believe, is actually the very last of those RC Bandito time trials. Yes, the very last RC Bandito time trial of the 10. I believe it will loop back over to Construction Site 1 for next time. Being the last one, it's probably going to be like one of the harder ones, I imagine. Personally, you just gotta know how to corner on these and whatnot. It changes by like each course, obviously. I'd probably watch a video guide or just do it yourself and just restart until you get it if you really want to do it. But it's only $100,000 and you only get to use the RC Bandito. So no vehicle variety whatsoever. So I'm not a huge fan of those. HSW town trial to somewhere on this Pacific Bluffs. As the description suggests, goes over to the El Gordo Lighthouse. Pretty much gave all the HSW options I wanted to give for recommendations. Oh, I did number 2 though. On number 2, that tended to be pretty nice. A couple of your better top speed options. I think they're pretty much your number 2 top speed options of the entire game. On 9th gen only, of course, because it's only a 9th gen veneer. The HSW Sterling GT and then the HSW Vicurus DX. Pretty much the 2 from like the Colonel Enterprise DLC, I think are a couple of your best top speeds of the entire game for vehicles in general. Not just for HSW even. So there's one that will be a couple of your better options in some cases. And yes, as you may have noticed, there's no part-time on this. What that means is once you get into a vehicle, it determines your part-time. So you can technically use any HSW vehicle you want, because the times are like chosen based on the vehicle you use. Either way, I gave like a good several recommendations that tend to be better than other things for completing it quicker. And then premium races were motorcycle class. I already went over a good bunch of motorcycle options for 8th gen, and then 9th gen, you're pretty much obviously one on easier, just to be a hot drag. And yeah, you cannot see the map on the pause. I mean, you used to be able to, I don't know why they took that feature out. But either way, once you go into the lobby, you should be able to press like square, or like X on like Xbox, and whatever on like PC, and you should be able to see the map of the course once you go into it, if you want to do that. Lap time is a lot of corners, top speed. Lap time is a lot of corners, top speed is like straights. Going back to power surge, it's just like Shotaro, by the way, where you lean like forward or backward with the stick, I believe, for that was possible speed, by the way, something I forgot to mention this time around. But yes, your podium vehicle this time around will go to the Lampadati Casco. Lampadati Casco. It's one of those like sport classic vehicles from like the Heist DLC. So it's from like 2015. So it's pretty dated. So it's probably not gonna necessarily be that impressive these days. I don't know, I think it might actually be pretty decent for top speed or something. Maybe even in these days of GTA Online. That's probably the most it would do for performance. I'll go into exact numbers after the wheel spin though. Alright, clothing. All the state clothing in case I somehow don't have any. I think I bought like all the clothing like up the like contract DLC, at least in like the main clothing stores. So this might just be a bunch of duplicates, so it might be kind of meaningless though. Yeah, Legendary Motorsport 2-door, right? I think so. Maybe a bit, maybe get some discounts here. But maybe, I mean, like, I might have intended to show that. Depends on if I'm in the right section or not. Okay, yes, 2-door. I'm not a casco. Yes. I'll be going on Bruffy 1322 spreadsheet. Bruffy 1322 is like a racing YouTuber, and it does like lap time top speed testing on the different vehicles in the game. So I'll give like numbers and stuff on that. But yes, Lampadati Casco, if you do obtain the vehicle, if you have the trade price, I think they added a buy it now price later on, but I know it wasn't a thing initially with the Heights update, but I think eventually they made it like future DLCs where you could get them right away without doing the Heist, but I think there was like buy it now prices that were added, so... But yes, trade price for the casket looks to be $680,000. Buy it now price, I assume, would be at least like $900,000 or something around there. So either way, not really too expensive these days. I feel the main basis would be you can make like $1 million per hour. But yes, going off of the old. Sorry for super fucking damn, but yes. Going off of the old Kyle Perico heist, the pre-nerf Kyle Perico heist, which I think is still a very good basis for like how much money you can make per hour. Typically on the high end, I think you make like 1 to 2 million for legit means like per hour, at least. So yeah, this vehicle's not really a super difficult one price-wise to obtain, so if you miss out on it, it's not the biggest deal. So do keep that in mind, you're not really getting the greatest savings on this one. Yeah, so Casco. According to Roughly 1322 spreadsheet in the Sport Classic class, it is at the very bottom of C tier. C tier is not the worst tier by any means, but I would say it's like an average tier at best. Which means that 17th place for lap time. And then top speed is number 10. Okay. So it seems you're barely hanging on for like number 10 top speed, it looks like, for the Sport Classic class on the 9th gen systems where you have HSW. So yes. Barely hanging on by Fred for top 10 for the 9th gen systems where you have HSW. That at least raises up to like number 8 for top speed on 8th gen where you do not have HSW since there is 2 HSW Sport Classic vehicles in the game. So especially on 8th gen, nice performance, but on 9th gen it's kinda near like outside of top 10 on the top speed. So, I don't really think it's too much of a safe investment at this point. Even though it is a free vehicle, so it's not a big deal in that case. So it could be a toss-away salon in the future for your garage. It might not be the most impactful vehicle for your garages per se in terms of performance. But yes. Now to go into the test tracks, I can talk about those vehicles. But yes, right away, I didn't give the greatest look, but 2 of these are tuner vehicles. But yeah, tuners tend to be like the typical theme for the test tracks, and kind of a lame selection in that case. I don't know, I think there's a pretty interesting vehicle selection, kind of, I will explain, but yes. Starting off, Vapid Dominator ESP, then there's the P-Fisher Comet S2, and then finally the Asa Ardent. Asa Ardent here should be your one discount, the other one should be full price. I will be checking on it to make sure though. Yes. The tuner ones are not on discount. Those will be full price, so keep that in mind. Arden's the only one you're even getting a deal on. But yeah, starting off Vapid Dominator ASP. It is one of like 17, like 19, 20 around there tuners in the game. What that means is you can use it in street races, pursuit races, and like robbery contracts. So there's some pretty nice exclusive money opportunities, especially in the case of robbery contracts that you can use it for. It is one of only 2 in the muscle car class that is in the tuner subclass, which makes it a very interesting tuner vehicle. So in that case, I do feel it's definitely one very worth picking up for the tuner subclass. For street races, it's not one of your like sport tuners. It's not really going to be the most impactful for like street races and pursuit races. But robbery contracts. This vehicle, the one here, doesn't have the rear louvers, but I know for a fact you can put rear louvers on this one, being a muscle car. It doesn't have that kind of feature, so that will for sure give you back protection. So that's always something you really want to look for when you're doing those robbery contracts. Though I think the number 1 top speed vehicle in the game, the Jester RR for a tuner subclass vehicle, it's the number 1 top speed for the tuner subclass, and that also has louvers though, so and top speed could be very impactful for your robbery contracts. It does have louvers, but it's not really going to be your best robbery contract vehicle per se. But nevertheless, it could be a very nice robbery contract vehicle for sure. It could also have some certain advantages in the robbery contracts of like the muscle car wheelie feature. So if you do like the muscle car wheelie, you can go over certain bumps on like highways and whatnot, which is always kind of nice. So I could provide some utility on it there. I think there's enough reasons to say this one's pretty worth picking up if you're willing to pay the full price on it. At least with the modifications and stuff at the test track here, it's $1,331,250 on a buy it now. Not buy it now, but a trade price. Yes, sorry, a trade price, since I have the trade price. Also for tuner subclass, there's the P-Fister Comet S2. But yeah, P-Fister Comet S2 does not have a unique class under the tuner subclass. It is one of the many sport cars that make up the vast majority of the tuner subclass. So the classing is not very unique. Even though it is in the sport class, I don't really recall it being one of your like top couple options per se. I want to say between the two P-Fister tuner vehicles, I think the Growler tends to be better off. And even then, this one's kind of not a tuner, but there is a similar vehicle known as the Comet S2 Cabrio, which actually came out after the Comet S2. Comet S2 Cabrio was actually in the contract DLC, so it came out like a DLC later. Not necessarily in the tuner subclass, but it's basically the Comet S2, but it also has some very decent top speed from last I recall as well. So there is a Cabrio version that tends to have better top speed, if I recall. Though it's not in the continuous class, I believe, for some reason, with Rockstar, of course. They do all of the most unpredictable things in this game. So not necessarily the most useful for street pursuit races, and I don't think I've ever customized this one, so I don't really know if there's a rear louver option on this or not. I don't necessarily really think so. Actually, I did used to have a on this too, actually, and I think there's like a tire or something you can put on the back of it. So I think you can get a little bit of back protection, but maybe not as much on like the Dominator ASP, for example, for your robbery contracts. So it can be a little nice for your robbery contracts, perhaps. An niche use that the vehicle used to have is that you could actually turn it into like a lowered like stand setup, and it would have a very insane top speed. I think it would actually be a better top speed than even your Jester RR. I think that only lasted for the tuner update. I think contract and onwards it's been patched down. So unfortunately you can't get it to be your #1 top speed anymore in like very niche circumstances where you do a lowered stance setup. So that's gone, so I think that definitely made the value go significantly down on this one. Last but not least, the Ocelot Ardent. This should be at 30% off discount from what I recall, making it $805,000. I think it's in like $1.1 million range normally. 30% off of that only gets you like a couple $100,000. But you can definitely make this money in like 1 hour, which is pretty nice. So yes, you can actually make the amount of that pretty nicely actually. I'll make sure I'm the percentage, by the way. Alright, yes, Arden in the Sport Classic class is a 30% off discount. It's a pretty interesting vehicle as well. I'll kind of show it off on this site, actually. It's actually in the Warstock website, which goes into what makes it pretty interesting. And yeah, no trade price on this one. I think it's always going to be like $1,150,000 or $805,000 no matter what. But yes, it is in the Sport Classic class. I believe this one actually has some pretty decent performance. I'm actually not going to go into performance numbers for this one though, since it is weaponized though, so I more so want to talk about the weapon capabilities on this one instead. But yes, even though I'm not going to go into performance on this one, it should have some pretty decent performance. I think it's like in like top 5 or top 10 somewhere. But yes, the only weapon it has is the dual machine guns there. So the only weapon capabilities this will have is machine guns. So if you're not big on machine guns, then this vehicle might not really be the vehicle for you. Being weaponized though makes it more useful than like 90-95% of vehicles in the game, I would say, so I think that's reason enough alone to get this one, I think, quite frankly. But yes, having machine guns though, honestly, it doesn't really let it do too much for money making. I would say the most you'll probably get out of this vehicle is like a headhunter VIP work. So I think it would tend to be best for VIP work, which tends to be like $20,000 to $30,000 each time you do it. And even then, there's going to be much better options for completing the headhunter anyways. So, but still, you can make some nice $20,000 to $30,000 like free mid money with this vehicle with like headhunters if you use like mounted machine guns and whatnot. Also, I think just lately, actually in the Drug War DLC, I think they actually did something new with it in the Drug War DLC. It is actually no longer blocked in races. I believe it's actually no longer blocked in races anymore, which means you can actually use it in like any race whatsoever, not just a transform race. So now I can actually use its performance in actual races, which is nice. I think that was something they just did actually as of the Drug War DLC. I think they did like a newswire of like all the changes they were doing in the Drug War DLC, so you can go back to that. And I think I mentioned something about like the Ardent now being usable in races, I think was one of the two they mentioned. So it could actually be more useful for your racing situations now, apparently. So that gives it a little bit more value for sure. Prize ride this time around. That will involve the LS Car Meet series, which usually is street race, pursuit race. Which is pretty much street race and pursuit race, so you keep that in mind. Remote sprint races might be another option. So it might be able to do free mode sprint races as well if you don't want to go into separate lobbies like you do have to with the street races, pursuit races. Top 3 is pretty easy though for the street races, so I think you should do the street races for the options there. And yes, there's the Peepers for Common Safari. I don't think I mentioned that one yet. And I think it's 2-door here. I do want to show it off on the website because it's another pretty interesting one with the Ardent. But yes. Alright, you saved $710,000 it looks like when you do the prize ride thing here. So you can save $710,000, which is quite nice. Again, you can kind of get this vehicle in 1 hour, but what makes it quite nice is the weapon modifications. This vehicle has weapon modifications just like the Ardent, and you pretty much have to do that at a vehicle workshop inside a vendor mobile operations center. Another option they added later on was the ability to actually do it for the arena workshop, I think is an option as well. As long as you have the weaponized mechanic, that is. So again, it can be another nice vehicle for like small like VIP work stuff like Headhunter, though you will be better off with something like a helicopter nevertheless. But again, that makes it more useful than like 90-95% of vehicles in the games. I mean, that alone makes it very good to get. Top 3 days in a row. As long as you stay within 2 and 3 players on a street race, I think you're pretty much a guarantee to get an entry for that. The only annoying part is 3 days in a row, but that's not that bad. A pretty easy, otherwise pretty easy challenge. So if you want it, you might as well go for it. Pursuit race, on the other hand, that one has 4 player minimum, so I probably would not do the pursuit races this time around. And then HSW test ride this time around, whatever it is, the Ponte Arbiter GT. Ponte Arbiter GT is one of 2 HSW muscle cars in the game. And honestly, it's not really that great. I think it's actually the worst HSW vehicle in the game, I believe. Yuckin' fuck that, fuck. But yes. Arbor GT, I didn't mean to be so vague there, I'm just froze being kind of a bitch, but yeah, thrown the test track, but yes. Between the initial batch of HSW vehicles, I think like March 2022, the initial batch of like HSW vehicles in like March 2022, I think was pretty much the worst option of them all. At the time, it was the only one in the muscle car class. But yes. At the time, it was broke down. But yes. At the time, it was the only option for the muscle car class, if I recall, for the HSW. And then Criminal Enterprise for the drift feed. For the drift feed of Criminal Enterprise, they then added the Vigero ZX muscle car for HSW as well now. That one I think is much better off than your Arbiter GT. So if you want just one, honestly, I wouldn't really go for the Arbiter GT, to be honest. So, if you only want one, I wouldn't go for it, but there's not that many HSW vehicles, and they tend to be some of your better, like, performance vehicles, so I'd probably go for it anyways, though. I don't think there's much of a particular advantage that one has over the Vigero ZX. I don't really think so. You're typically just going to be better off using the Vigero ZX most of the times, as far as I'm aware. But again, there's not too many of them per se for HSW, and they tend to be some of the better vehicles in the games. I'll probably pick it up anyways, though. But yes, Karate Furia. I think when I was going for the Casco, I think this one already showed a discount on it, so it should be on a 30% off discount if I recall for the luxury auto vehicle here. And then Assault Stromberg will be on full price, so do keep that in mind. Alright, yes. Furia in the supercar class is indeed 30% off. And even though the Stromberg is not on discount, I think it's a pretty good pickup. I'll explain though. But yes, for supercar class, Grotti Furia. I don't really recall this one being that good. If I'll be quite honest. But yes, according to Bruffy 132 spreadsheet, Grotti Furia in the supercar class is in like the middle of the C tier supercar class, making it 28th place lap time. Barely above average for a lap time, since I think supercar class has like 60 vehicles, it's barely above average for the class. And then 40th place for top speed. Yeah, top speed is pretty garbage on this one for sure. Lap time is barely even above average between like the upper half of the class. So unfortunately, it's not really worth picking this one up. It's pretty terrible discount this time around. I wouldn't really go for it. This one's more like a 2-hour grind, I would say, more than like a 1-hour grind, sure, but I wouldn't really pick it up. It's not the greatest performance, though. So, in my opinion, the one that's actually worth picking up is actually the one on full price here, and that would be the Ocelot Stromberg. As you can see, it's actually, As you can see, it's actually in the Sport Classic. No, not Sport Classic. It is in the Sport Classic class, but it is on the Warstock website, which means it's weaponized. So it has machine guns, and this one actually also has missiles as well, giving it a lot more money grinding potential than even the Arden and then the Comet Safari from earlier. But yeah, the missiles makes it a so much better option when it comes to like Headhunter VIP works. It's amphibious as well because it is actually a submarine car. But yes, Stromberg is actually a submarine car as well, so it can actually go underwater too. So it can be good for certain amphibious missions as well, which you can't really say for the Arden and the Comet Safari from earlier that are also weaponized discounts. So yes, it is full price, but it is actually a pretty nice vehicle. Machine guns, I think, are actually pretty decent power on that one. They're not weak machine guns like the Night Shark that I'll actually be talking about later on. But yes. The machine guns are not as, weak as, the Night Shark machine guns. I think the machine guns, even though they're not explosive, they're actually some pretty good machine guns for power-wise, from what I recall. And then the missiles aren't actually the best tracking. You only get 30 of the missiles, so you are limited to 30 missiles, which is pretty much the highest average for a vehicle. That's actually pretty good capacity for a land vehicle. Even though the other But yes, even though the other submarine vehicle has like unlimited missiles, I do think 30 is still pretty respectable. That's pretty much the higher amount when it comes to a land vehicle in terms of the limited missiles that you can have, aside for the Tortor, which is the one exception, which funnily enough is the better submarine vehicle in particular, which is the one vehicle that actually is a land vehicle that has unlimited missiles. Not counting the fully loaded Ruiner 2000 for the certain VIP work that lasts like 20 minutes, whatever. But yes, they're not the best tracking missiles, but I think they're like next to the best tracking. So it's not going to be as good as like a Vigilante or like a Deluxo, which I think are a couple of the vehicles that have like best tracking. Ruiner 2000 as well is another example that has like the best tracking missiles. Stromberg tends to have like next to the best tracking, so it's not as good as those tracking missiles, but still pretty accurate compared to something like a Buzzard in your typical aircraft. So you do get a bit better like accuracy and stuff on those missiles, but not insane like the Deluxo and stuff. But yes, having missiles definitely makes it a whole lot better for the money grinding for sure. And its amphibious capabilities too. Yes. Simeon's Premium Deluxe Repo work this time around. As I was kind of mentioning earlier, it's the Heavy Night Shark, Vapid Dominator GTX. They also have Virtue, Vapid GB200. Sorry, goddammit, shit fucking through, but finally getting a Sylvester. But yes, Night Shark. I don't seem to see a livery on it. I think that should be the same price on the website, right? I would think so. I don't think there's one that's livery on it. Alright, yes. Goes from 1,245,000 to 821,500. I do not believe this one has a trade price on it, by the way. So no matter what, it should be 1,245,000 or 871,500. No task required, I'm pretty sure.
We need to meet up for drinks.
Yeah, almost 400,000 off. Wow, it's not the biggest price jump, but at least puts it under $1 million. At least it's just like the Arden, which is very nice. So it should make it very affordable in like 1 hour of gameplay if you're playing efficiently. But yes. This vehicle is armored. Vehicle has some pretty nice armor actually. I think the armor goes into like 20 or like 30 or something at max, which is pretty insane as long as you're like inside the vehicle, or maybe it's like 15 or maybe it's like more like 15 to 20 or something. Either way, it's a pretty insane amount, whatever it is. Whatever amount it is, it's pretty insane. If you compare it to a regular insurgent pickup, I think it's like a little over like double the amount of explosive resistance, maybe even like triple or something. I think like a regular insurgent pickup is like 6 to like 9 or something. Explosive resistance is things here is at least double. And it's much quicker than that even. And yes. And yes. And yes, this vehicle does have machine guns. So just like the Arden and like the Comet Safari. So yes. Just like the Arden and the Comet Safari, it will be good for something like a Headhunter VIP work. But yes. Just like Arden and Comet Safari, good for stuff like Headhunter VIP work. Very simple money making stuff that gets you like 20 or 30,000 and like free modos that'd be pretty okay for. Again, you have better options like helicopters like the Savage or just something like that, but it's something at least. Something that like 90-95% of vehicles in the game when it comes to like all the civilian vehicles in the game. When it comes to all civilian vehicles in the game, they're not gonna compete to the Night Shark being able to do pretty decent at Headhunter. Just got minor money making opportunities are just quite nice. Very small money making opportunities, more so. Yeah, all the armor, a little bit of firepower with the machine guns. Even though I did say earlier they're not very good machine guns as far as I know, they're not actually very good. Unlike an armored vehicle, I think it takes like a couple minutes to destroy certain armored vehicles. They're just not great at all. So yeah, not the greatest machine guns, but all that armor and stuff can be quite nice for free mode. So mainly if you're in a lot of free mode lobbies, that would be quite a nice vehicle. And as for the rest, I might not specifically mention like all kinds of performance stuff for all of them at least. But yes. Night Shark is actually your only discount, by the way, all the other ones will be full price, so do keep that in mind. So I'm not gonna mention all the performance stuff, otherwise I'd be here forever. Especially with how Shimmer is right now, but yes. But Vapid Dominator GTX muscle car. As you would expect with your typical Dominators. Eh, I don't really think it's at like the very, very top, like top one, like top three, or anything that insane. It's a pretty sportier looking muscle car, I feel, for a Dominator at least. I feel it's a pretty sporty looking Dominator, so it could have some okay performance stuff at least. Virtue, I pretty much explained everything that's worth knowing into what's the new section here. I do want to show the price actually though. I actually don't think I really showed that yet. Now that it's available for general purchase, it will be $2,235,000. And I want to say this vehicle has a trade price as well, if I recall. And I think it requires you to complete Lastos DKM or something. And I think that's actually the last of the Lastos missions for the trade price. Not really too much point in the trade price, to be honest, when that same mission gives you it for free anyways, if you do the mission route where you complete all the Lastos missions as you could since day one of being able to attain this vehicle. I do not really recommend buying the Virtue, I just think it's a waste. Just earning for the missions, I think that's much better off. Because then you're getting the mission payouts, and then you're getting this $2.2 million vehicle for free. You just gotta pay for customization, like upgrades and stuff you want. Which is much better off than the whole vehicle and that. And if you're good enough at the missions, they'll probably only take like 1 hour, I would say. So, if you think you're good enough at the missions to where it'll only take 1 hour, it's not gonna be that huge of a time investment. It just will not be. Just really not gonna be that huge of a time investment for sure, yes. Even if you do the missions, it's probably only 1 hour. Again, sorry for repeating, I'm just doing it because my first shit, so I want to make sure it gets heard better. Yeah, trade price is pretty strange on this one. You basically do the mission, I guess you hit for free. Pretty funny. But I guess if you want like multiples or something, it could be nice. Or maybe like if you can get it for free on like a primary and a secondary. Maybe if only one of your two characters can get it for free, maybe it's more for your like secondary character or something, I don't know. That's the price of it and everything. Very nice money tech vehicle. It's got some of the best acceleration I believe in the entire game. Again, it's an electric vehicle, it's got some of the best acceleration, like right behind. Yes. Has some of the best acceleration in the entire game, like right behind this Cyclone 2. Cyclone 2 obviously has better acceleration pretty much since it's HSW and electric. Besides for that, I think it's like second best acceleration as far as I've heard. And it has a money tax that's got missile lock-on jammer and remote control unit. Being an electric vehicle, remote control unit's a very good one to consider. Because with the speediness of it and stuff already, you probably wouldn't really need the missile lock-on jammer too much. Vapid GB200. I think easily this one's probably going to be your worst option here. Not on discounts, I don't want to go into exact numbers. But yeah. It is one of those rally style sport cars, I believe. Rally style sport cars don't really tend to be that good performance in this game, apparently. So yeah, if a sport car is considered like a rally sport car, it doesn't really tend to be that good performance. So I'm gonna assume this one's probably the worst performing of all of them. And then the Anissa Vestra. assuming it's one of those Doomsday Heist vehicles that have weapons on them, just like your comments have already prize rise. I do want to go on the website for this to point that out. So even though it's not on discount, I do want to focus a little bit on this one. Alright, yes. Yes, the Vestra does have the thing about the weapon modifications for the vehicle workshop side of Avenger Mobile Operations Center. Or again, you can do the arena workshop as long as you have the weaponized mechanic. I think it was one they added like later on in like late 2018. That wouldn't be mentioned on this 2017 description. So yes. Again, it's only going to be super good for small stuff like your headhunter, like VIP work, for example, any sort of like small free mode money making. That would probably be better off in like a helicopter anyways. But it's still something. Definitely makes it much more useful than 90-95% of vehicles in the game. So I think your good ones for sure go to the Night Shark, the Virtue, and the Sylvestra. There's a lot of pretty interesting options here this time around. Free to have all kinds of like weapon capabilities or armor. Yeah. 2 vehicles of like armor, 1 vehicle with armor and weapon capabilities in the case of like Night Shark. Oh yeah, there's mean like armor plating I think as well, by the way. I might have forgot the armor plating. There's like armor plating options you can do. Heavy armor plating I think makes you completely unarmed but gives you like the best bullet protection. Other armor plating options here. Certain armor platings I think prevent the use of sticky bombs, so you might be better off like without armor plating if you want to do like sticky bombs in it or something for any reason. Which would probably be a huge thing if you do a lot of player versus player or something. Yeah, there's 3 very good options. GV200 I definitely probably want to pick up. Probably even GTX just because there's already like 3 really good vehicles you can already choose from. For pretty good reasons aside for just a civilian vehicle. So good choices are pretty obvious this time with all the facts that I explained. And yes, from there I think I just have discounts and like money opportunities to go over.
You're looking good.
For like property, more like property like gun running themed discounts for like business kind of stuff or whatever. But yes, sorry I mentioned the bunker cell mission thing. Don't really need to go any more into that. Not really much I want to give in terms of vehicle advice when it comes to like sale missions for the bunker. I don't think so, since like I said, you can just get a solo friendly business. You can get a solo friendly sale if you just stick to one whole thing of supplies. If you do that, you're pretty much guaranteed a pretty easy times. I don't really think I want to mention much about the particular sale like, missions per se. It's not too many bad ones. I don't know, like a couple of bad ones over, like all of them being bad or something. I think I pretty much mentioned everything I wanted to mention in terms of stock and research. I honestly really wouldn't probably bother with the research much again, more so with the stock. Stock is much better off, clearly, for money making. Guess I'll go newswire orders. I guess I'll talk about the bunker discounts since it was kind of already mentioned on what's new section anyways.
Holy shit, you can't say that stuff to me, you'll make me blush.
Yes, bunker. Well, I think my right stick drifted there for why I went like all the way up like that. Yeah. I think farmhouse is your most expensive one here for bunker. 30% off that from 2.3 million to 2.3 million to 1.6 million. It seems to give you like around $700,000 off, or just that much better off than some of those like vehicle discounts that like 30% off for sure. It's definitely more bang for your buck there, or whatever. Upgrades and modifications as well will be 30% off. So you have complete cosmic style, personal quarters. As per usual, you need the personal quarters as far as I know to spawn at the property. There's pretty obvious advantages of spawning at the bunker, such as being able to do like your sourcing missions if you wanted to like source for some reason for the sourcing missions, which I do not recommend. It's better to buy the supplies, as I mentioned, for turning into passive business. And something like that you would really want the personal quarters for. But yes. And there's all kinds of stuff like the master control terminal and stuff that, but yes. The master control terminal I think allows you to like buy supplies, and I think it also allows you to sell as well, but you're always better off going to your actual like bunker and like other properties compared to like actual master control terminals, so you're going to want to be at the bunker for your sale missions, not at your master control terminal or your arcade. So definitely good use there for personal quarters as well. Honestly, this is the main two uses I can think of for wanting a personal quarters at the bunker. Not really too great of vehicle spawns to take advantage of on this personal quarters, so it's not one of the better spawning properties per se, but still has its nice advantages nevertheless. Shooting range. I'll explain that there is actually a good reason to get the shooting range. I will do that later on, or I kind of will do it now. I will describe it now, but I want to show more visual representation for the weapon wheel later on. Yeah, black or white doesn't really matter, it's just cosmetic, obviously. But yes. But yeah, the shooting statistic should not be hard to like raise at all. So if it does boost your shooting statistic, then I do not really think it's going to be that useful per se. Just using your actual like weapons in combat alone, I think tends to be pretty good for your shooting statistic. Or even then, you can just go to like ammunition for those shooting ranges anyways. Besides for that, there's certain cosmetics you can unlock for the shooting range. There's certain clothing items you can unlock by doing like shooting range challenges. I believe there's certain clothing tied to that. There's even some pretty cool like gold, like platinum, like weapon tints or something I think you can earn for the shooting range as well. But again, that would be more of a cosmetic thing for like Mark II weapons in particular. Most importantly though, you can actually increase your throwing ammo capacity. So your throwables can actually be increased by 5 each. So for example, instead of like 25 sticky bombs, you can get 30 sticky bombs by doing certain amounts of those shooting range challenges, if I recall. So you can increase your throwables, which could be nice in very niche situations. So it actually is kind of nice getting in the shooting range. But yes, gun locker. As expected by the name, it's a way to store certain weapons you might not be big on using. Personally, I like having access to every single weapon at any time. So I don't really think they're too practical, but if that's something for you, then it's an option. But there's all kinds of other options for gun lockers, not just this property. For example, one of your better options for a gun locker, I think, goes over to the nightclub. Nightclub, you actually have a complimentary one, I believe, that you don't purchase at all, it just comes with your nightclub. For example, yeah, definitely can have its uses. And in transportation, as expected, you mainly use it in your bunker for transport, since the bunker is one of the huger interiors of the game. Yes, bunker is one of your huger interiors, so transportation can be kind of nice, I guess. Though I don't really feel it's the most necessary, but Agent 14 actually allows you to spawn it in free mode now as of the Criminal Enterprise DLC in 2022 that they released. So yes, in the previous Criminal Enterprise DLC they actually had the ability to spawn it in free mode, which is pretty cool as well. Not sure why you would want to, but it's there. And then, yeah. The other ones, other upgrades modifications might not be on the website, but 30% off modifications and stuff could include stuff like your staff security and equipment upgrades. You never know, it could always be kind of worth checking that to see if they do that. But yeah, staff and equipment tends to be some of your better, like, business upgrades. Security is not the most necessary. Even with security, you still get razors, reduces frequency. And as long as you're not like a CEO or MC, like when you're not really needing to be, then you should be fine. Like if you're not like AFK for hours and hours on end with a pretty full like bunker all like carelessly, all recklessly, you should be pretty fine. But I would get the security upgrade anyways, just in case. Assuming it's on a 30% discount, of course. It'd just be the website stuff, though. I think on rare occasions, at least back in the days, it was a rare thing that they would do the security and, like, staff equipment stuff as well. And, yeah, some, like, MOC stuff and whatnot as well. As mentioned earlier, with, like, the What's New section. So, for example, 30% off the Phantom Custom right now is like 857,500. Again, more of like a 1 hour grind instead of like getting close to that like 2 hour grind kind of. You don't see the prices, I already have it, but the Hauler Custom I think tends to be the better one. As you can see with the windows, they are like covered up, so I assume there's a little bit of an advantage in terms of like bullet protection, maybe. Hauler Custom should be the more expensive of the two, if I recall. Yes. Yes, Hauler Custom should be the more expensive of the two. And yeah, just looking at the differences in the windows, I think alone makes it clearly more worthwhile. Even though it might just be cosmetic, I would just get Hauler Custom just in case. But again, not necessarily too big of a deal. And for Bay living quarters, Command Center gets you to like weapon capabilities. But yes, to make the MSC as useful as possible, you definitely want the Command Center over the living quarters clearly. Now you may wonder why I don't have the weapon and vehicle workshop. Well, that's because it takes up 2 slots. But Pay Free actually is a pretty decent option that isn't weapon and vehicle workshop. But yes, the Avenger they added later on in like the Doomsday Heist. You don't have like the base system to worry about on the Avenger, so you always have an option to modify your vehicles in the Avenger. If you don't have the Arena Workshop of Weaponized Mechanic even. So because there's the Avenger that can get you the like vehicle workshop anyways, it's just basically better to go with a regular weapon workshop. That's why I have this one and not this one. Since this one takes up both Bay 2 and Free. As you would expect with the and there. The reason I have it like that is because Bay Free, there's personal vehicle storage. Sure, it's just one vehicle slot, but if you want to collect as many vehicles as you can, then it's absolutely necessary to get this one extra slot, obviously. So that alone makes it very worthwhile. Definitely worth the one extra vehicle slot. Pretty cool to have a vehicle in like a moving truck. That's pretty fucking cool. So I definitely don't think there's a better base selection here than what I have right now. Those are easily going to be your best options for each one. And aside from that, just interior color for cosmetic. But yes, that was 30% off the MOC cab, and then also the upgrades and modifications. And then there's a couple other money opportunities. I coupled a few more. But they're going to be adversary modes. They're not going to be as good as what I was already talking about here, so to keep that in mind. Uh, but yes. And I think all the rest of the money opportunities are all going to be adversary modes, so you keep that in mind. So they're not going to be as good as like bunker sales, obviously not. But yes, 2 times money RP on select bunker series. Now in the newswire they say bunker series in general, which suggests the whole thing, but it looks like it's just select maps for some reason. So it looks like it's Juggernaut, Resurrection, Code F to part, and then trading places. It looks like it's those 4 only. Looks like you get the entire Diamond series as well. Not sure why bunkers just select ones, but Diamond's like the entire thing. That's pretty weird, but okay. Missile base also looks to be select ones only, or yeah, okay. So every bullet counts. It looks like hardest target. Power play. Resurrection. You know, now looks to be it there for the interior modes there. But yeah, Juggernaut. That's like one of those like deathmatch style modes where like one player on like a team has like priority, where they have like more health and all kinds of more like armor and stuff like that. Whatever, all kind of shit I'm trying to say, but yeah. Resurrection is like a deathmatch where like when you kill someone on the other team, someone on your team comes back or something like that. So that is part. I do not really recommend this one, I will say that right now, but it's a Valentine's themed mode. So you have a Valentine that you have to protect as well. If your Valentine dies, you die as well. Having to rely on somebody else and do good on the mode, I just do not really see that one being all that practical. So right away, I was to say that one's not really too worthwhile. Yeah, this one is like a winner and like a loser kind of thing. Whatever. Podium finish, past parcel modes, apparently. I think I remember this one actually has some better payouts, if I recall, between the 4 that are on the money opportunities, so that's something on that one at least. The entirety of Diamond Deer, Entourage. Again, it's kind of one of those ones where certain people have like different roles, or like one person on a different team has like a different role and whatnot. Bodyguards take a target to a certain location. The bodyguards take targets to a certain location and protect them from assassinations. Or assassins, I mean. Definitely sounds like a pretty fun one there. Every bullet counts. I don't think this one was actually on the bunker 2 times, since Sony selected maps for bunker. But yeah. Every character seems to get a marksman pistol with 4 bullets left. The goal in this one is to make sure your shots count. If you miss, you're going to be significantly penalized and whatnot, because you don't have that much bullets and whatnot. It sounds definitely more of a mode of skill for sure. I don't feel that one's generally going to be that good for money making though, so do keep that in mind. Because of the crazy gimmick on that one, similar to Death to His Part. Hardest target. Kind of one of those modes similar to like Juggernaut, probably I assume, where like one person is like your main focus skill or something on the other team, and the other protects them, whatever. Probably a pretty average mode you could play in that series there. Diamond has Juggernaut as well. Diamond kill quota. Yes, kill quota. Essentially, it's like the gun game of like Call of Duty, whatever. Basically, when your team gets a certain amount of kills, I think with a certain weapon, it like changes the weapon. But yes. Essentially, when your team gets a certain amount of kills of like a certain weapon or something, it, like upgrades the weapons or something similar to like Call of Duty, like that. Similar to Call of Duty gun game. Diamond has a resurrection as well. Slasher. Very damn fun mode. Depending on how it goes, it can definitely be pretty nice. Like money making one compared to some other adversary modes. But people thought I used to die for like personal shotgun and whatnot. Kind of essentially. It looks like trading places for Diamond as well. Also, basic airable accounts is a thing as well. So I think only Bunker you don't get airable accounts for 2 times. Hardest target. I don't think Bunker had this, but Diamond has it as well. Juggernaut will not be an option there. I think it's the only one where you don't get Juggernaut 2 times. Yes. Yes, damn it. Fucking throat. Missile Base seems to have power play exclusive to it. Diamond and Bunker do not have power play. It's a power-up one, so it could probably be a quicker mode, to be honest, with all the crazy power-ups in it. So, probably not a very serious one for money making in terms of an adversary mode, since like, tables can turn pretty crazy due to the power-ups. So honestly, that one's probably not gonna be that great for grinding in terms of like the adversary moves in particular. Or you get resurrecting option on missile base for damage as well. Okay, you do get all of the different free interior resurrections. I was trying to think. Alright, so you get some pretty nice variety this time around since the interior adversary modes have some most variety in the game for adversary modes. So this is definitely a very nice week for like variety on these different interior adversary modes. Damn it, fucking through. But yes. And then, trying to think. I think on the newswire it only mentions bunker series, but for some reason there's like the entire diamond series and select missile base as well. I don't think they mentioned that on the newswire. They only mention bunker series, but there is those other ones as well. That's pretty interesting. Trying to think. Oh yes. Do keep in mind these are permanently in the game though. It's not like other adversary modes where they put them on like rotation, where like there's certain ones they bring back for a month and then they vault them like the next month. The interior modes you don't have to really worry about those going away. They've pretty much been in since like they rehashed the adversary modes like the tuners update where they were starting to vault modes and whatnot. And it looks like Power Mad 147 will be the last of these adversary modes, 2 times 1 ERP. Again, it's not the same thing as Power Play, it's a little bit different at least. I don't know. Maybe Power Mad is more of a power play focus than Power Play, even since Power Mad is just like it's loaded with power ups or something compared to Power Play where you have to be pretty strategic with them or something. I don't know. It's been so long since I played any of these different adversary modes, but it's not like it's much of an option to play them whenever I want to, like it used to be, but yeah. I feel the interior ones typically will have better options, again with all the variety. I think the interior ones tend to be better, but the advantage of Power Mad is it is only going to be available for the month of April, pretty much before it gets vaulted for the month of May, so do keep that in mind. So you might want to focus on Power Mad just because it's much more limited time than the interior ones, which are not limited time at all, pretty much. But yeah, money making all depends on like the amount of rounds. Money making all depends on like the amount of rounds and like how good your team does and whatnot compared to the other team. So to get all that great of money, you pretty much gotta win every single round of your team and whatnot. So, and mostly for player versus player, like competitive game modes and whatnot. Not really too serious for money making. Probably like $100,000-$200,000 at most, I would say. So obviously you're pretty much better off if your poker sales, as I was basically saying. So that was Bunker Series and all the other interior ones that Rockstar did not mention. And then Power Man. Oh yeah. I guess I should price a 300R by the way as well, since it is only available for a limited time for the second time. I don't know if it mentions that anywhere, or... Like, yeah, when hovering over it, it doesn't mention that really, but... Yeah, you only have until, like, April 12th to get it again for the second time it's available, even... Should just made it permanently available as well for the second time, but nope. They're doing all this fear of missing out, like, FOMO crap this time. They're doing all this fear of missing out, like, FOMO fucking bullshit, for, like, the second time on this one fucking vehicle. I don't know if it was one of the biggest, like, ones they wanted to do it with, given it has the money tech and stuff, so I guess they took it as a huge opportunity to do that kind of thing. I think it was, like, the first one they even did that with in their whole entire drug war. You will see with this new bullshit they're doing, but still. Wait, what was the price again? I didn't really say it. I guess I just expect people to look at it. Okay, it's 2,075,000 for those interested. Again, I do think it's pretty worthwhile to pick it up. It's a Monitech, so it's very good for free mode. Like, if you're in a player versus player situation, willingly or otherwise, it's pretty nice. For that, it's definitely a nice one to cruise around in free mode. Definitely one of the better vehicles to cruise around in free mode for sure, yes. Alright. I'll rehash the vehicle discounts. There's only 3 of them apparently in total. It's actually one less than I think than last time. I don't know, they seem to be not doing very many vehicle discounts these last couple weeks, interestingly. Again, it was the Grati Furia, which I think is definitely easily the worst discount. It was the Aston Arden and Heavy Night Shark. Oh, and that reminds me, actually. Just like how I mentioned with the Arden, I think they added the ability to do, like, races with it as of the Drug War DLC. Same thing with the Night Shark, you can actually use it in, like, more traditional races, and not just, like, specialty ones like transform races now, I believe, in the Night Shark. It's more better off when it comes to the Arden, though, and Arden actually has good performance, whereas the Night Shark doesn't really necessarily have good performance for the off-road class at all, per se. It's kind of more of, like, a meme choice, I would say. More of like a funny, like, meme choice to choose for a race, I feel. Yeah, I think as of the latest Drug War update, funnily enough, both of those weaponized ones on discount, you can actually use them in regular races. Just to discounts on both on this 1 week's actually pretty ironic. I don't know, maybe that's why they choose them, I don't fucking know. And also there's the gun running theme as well, so there's that too. It's kind of a cool double meaning with that, I guess. Last but not least, just a couple gun van discounts. And then it's just gonna be me doing like the regular HSW time trial pretty much, and I think when we're done then. Oh yeah, weapon discounts though. I don't know what I was doing there. I've just been so used to being on the website. Also reminds me, I forgot to show it for the weapon wheel, but I was talking about the throwable increase. So as I was saying, if you get to a certain point, like the shooting range challenges or whatever, you actually increase every single like throwable capacity by like 5, which is pretty insane for certain ones, especially. Grenade, that goes from 25 to 30. If you do the shooting range challenges, sticky bomb, pretty huge one there, you can go from the 25 to 30 there. Another very huge one, I would say that benefits greatly there. Since you only get 5, which is single digit initially, you can up that to double digit with 10. That's pretty huge. Proximity mines can have been quite nice. They're a very nice anti-griefing weapon if you have someone chasing after you in like a civilian vehicle for any reason or something. Maybe even like a low fly in a Press Mark 2 or something. Could definitely have its uses. Pipe bomb goes from 10 to 15. Tear gas 25 to 30. Molotovs 25 to 30. That's a very rare one that only recently became pretty accessible with the gun van. I'll be able to hold the Molotov cocktails pretty much no matter what. It's like an exclusive thing the gun van does.
Hey, hit me up on Life Invader later.
So yeah, those are the like throwable capacities that you can increase by like 5 each for the shooting range. Especially the sticky bomb, the proximity mines, and yeah, sticky bomb, proximity mines, and Molotov cocktails, especially feel just because of them being rare. Especially those first two, I think tend to be the greatest ones that you want to take advantage of there. That's the main use of the shooting range, I would say. And as for the gun van discounts, one for everybody, one for subscription as per usual. They will both be in the heavy weapon category this time. So, for everybody, there is 40% off of the RPG. RPG, unfortunately, you're going to be pretty limited in terms of usage with it because it's manual aim, unlike your homing launcher, which has auto, like, lock on shit. So you gotta be pretty skilled with it and whatnot to take much advantage of it. In the right hands, it could be one of your most powerful weapons, undeniably though. Cannot possibly go wrong with an RPG 40% off. I mean, it's a fucking rocket-propelled grenade and shit. It's obviously going to be powerful. What more is there to say? No real reason to analyze the stats heavily or anything. And then the one next to it will be 50% off if you are a GTA Plus member. So if you are tied to the Plus subscription or whatever, minigun will be half off or 50% off. This one between the two, I think definitely has to be the better one on offer. It's one of two. But yes. Yes. One of two bullet-based heavy weapons in the game, I'm pretty certain. Not counting the Widowmaker, because that's basically a duplicate. Wait, what the fuck? My railgun ammo fucking glitches out now? Are you serious? God damn. All these damn ammo glitches in the game are now starting to deplete my railgun. Though you can actually fill it up pretty instantly to 20 with like $1,000 per ammo thing on like CO whatever free as well, even if you have the subscription even. But not counting the reskin Widowmaker, there's basically just 2 bullet-based heavy weapons again. The other one's the latest railgun as part of the drug war update. Undeniably, railgun takes the cake between them, or whatever the fuck. But yes, undeniably the railgun definitely took a bunch of spotlight away from the minigun. Sure, minigun's a lot more rapid fire, but why use this much when you have explosive ammo that you can use it now with like the form of a bullet weapon in the case of the railgun? Sure, this is the only pure bullet heavy weapon, but I mean, even though it's not got lock on, the railgun can pretty much just do what your minigun can do as well, but quicker, I would say. Since you don't have to have a bunch of like sustained like fire on like a certain vehicle, you can pretty much just hit the vehicle. If it's like a civilian vehicle with like one railgun thing and boom, it's blown up. So definitely fell off a good bit, I would say, with the railgun, but it's still very damn useful regardless in the right circumstances. Easily has the best fire rate of any of the heavy weapons, along with the Widowmaker, which is like copy paste. Definitely cannot go wrong with either one. If you're going to get much use out of just one of them, though, the RPG is definitely the one. Thankfully, everybody gets the better discount, not the worst discount. But yes, that is going to be it for the discounts, like money opportunities, all the like event stuff. Now I'm just going to be doing regular and HSW time trials pretty much, so I make a little bit of money on the stream, whatnot. I only really play this game on stream, to be honest, these days. Pretty much played everything there is to be in the game. So that's pretty acid lab stuff, like business system. I did that as a stream at one point. Maybe next week I do that next event, maybe. I don't know. Not that last stage came out, which is probably like one of the last like huge things of content I would say for the DLC. In March, April would probably be a good month to finally cover the business for me. And I still gotta actually do the. I actually want to do like the soloable, like, story missions at one point as well, I think. Whether that be a stream or maybe I do like a bonus episode of contact mission content where I basically do the 2-player missions but as 1 player. See, like, different strategies possibly and whatnot.
You calling for some wheels? I'm Johnny on the spot. I'll hook you up. I'll bring it by.
Oh, okay, it goes over here, okay. I don't know why, but I thought it wouldn't like over here. Oh well. Either way, I think it might be one of the last like time trials before it loops back to that first regular time trial. I might be wrong. But again, this might be similar to the first Illusion Island, so if you use the first one, then you might have an easier time on this one. And I pretty much went over any possible advice earlier on. Oh no, I did not. Okay. No way! I think it hit like a bump and it kinda hit me there. I don't fucking remember. Whatever. Fucking hell, that was bullshit, though. That's all I know. Oh fuck, I'm probably not gonna do it now. Great. Alright, well, I'm here doing this fucking bullshit. I'm not gonna commentate. It's done, I guess. This one kinda makes it difficult, especially because I'm using the DualSense controller. So I have to talk to my controller. It's kinda hard sometimes. How the fuck? No way. I turned a bit too early. I was just trying to. I was kind of on autopilot, dude. Because of the previous time, I was trying to remember, like, tapping into him. Not doing that again. I actually don't know if you can take that one shortcut, like the hill shortcut over here. I don't know if you can actually really take that effectively or not. Actually, you might be able to. I mean, you might kind of start with a different area than that, though. I forget. Alright. Well, that was quite the end. Estimated it's done. Shit, if he's only made it first time though. Shit, if he's only made it last time, then I swear to. Just got that fucking stick drift again. What the hell? That happened like twice in this whole fucking live stream. Damn it, you fucking right stick work. Fucking record, damn it. Oh, it's Court Center, that's what I'm sorry. Oh, and I didn't mention, but I'm gonna be using the Izzy Rally HSW. On this stream I did not, but I made it pretty clear that I would do that for a while now. For those that may have been interested.
You need something, huh? One of your rides? Let me know. I'll bring it to you.
Right, part-time for SEV class, or like, at least for the Izzy route in particular, 3:59 on 4 minutes, okay. Last time, nighttime, of course, in this vehicle has pretty fragile headlights compared to the typical HSW, I feel, so that's not a great combination. And you get up there and then they kind of stopped and can get up more or whatever. It's not good, right? Nighttime starting not great for me if Gordon's. fucking hell, no way. It's bullshit. I'm losing now. I don't fucking know. Still trying it. Fuck it. Fucking nighttime anyways, it's more difficult. That's right, I kinda waited out. Okay, no. That's a redo. That's fucking bullshit. And like I know PS5 is taking do like 4K and shit, so I don't know if like having a 1080p TV or some shit fucking makes it more difficult to see shit on the next gen version or whatever. I don't fucking know. Fucking hell, whatever. Tried to go in a bit, speeding away that time. Or that first time trying to, whatever. Finally, a good one. Fucking hell, ow. Uh, Seriously, how the fuck? Man, this bird's better noise. Hell, no, doing good on this highway coming so far. I mean, it is a top speed focus necessity, but it's still. Oh, right before the red timer I was honestly really trying to do that. To be quite honest, I kind of went on my way for that. Thankfully, I didn't end up in the water because of that, so that's good. At 40,000 to. Not. Did I say thousand? Yeah. I mean, 40,245,317 dollars. Cool. Lost half of my lights, apparently, pretty much. Again, this fucking HSW is really fragile headlights, so it's one I'm not a big fan of on this one, personally. When it comes to doing these time trials at night. Nevertheless, it's pretty alright. Once it finally, like, got going, once I could finally make it to, like, the casino area without, like, totally flipping over, like, that one first time I made it that far, it was pretty smooth sailing from there. That was cool. Yeah, it's almost 2.5 hours stream of that fucking frozen funny, fucking frozen shit, dude. I don't know what the hell I'm saying, but whatever. But yes, that's pretty much going to be it for the stream. Unfortunately, it wasn't really much of an event. Honestly, it was almost a complete, like, never event week for 3 weeks in a row. Technically, it kind of was, since they just kind of did a full release of Virtue, which we could already get for the last days, and bringing back the 300R for those that missed it when they, like, first released it along with, like, the other vehicles from, like, day 1 of Drug War DLC. Pretty sure it was day 1 till, like, the first, like, week, or, like, a couple weeks or something. So it's kind of cool for those who didn't get it, they can get it again, but pretty scummy thing that they've been doing starting with this DLC. They're probably testing on water for 6, that's fucking real here now. I'd be sad if they do all that kind of shit with 6, honestly. If they do that shit with 6 at the start, I might just not fucking care, honestly. I might just be fucking done with Rockstar at the point, I don't fucking know. At least it's more interesting than the last couple fucking weeks, but just fucking barely. Like, for me, it's not really much of anything. Sorry, I had the vehicles, but okay. If I don't buy the Virtue on the website, it's a complete fucking scam. Just get it for the fucking missions. Spend an hour, get the extra money, fucking just do it. And not to spend as much easily. Okay, that will finally be it for this stream now. Hope you enjoyed.